Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 347. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we got Kevin Rickstraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
This week on the show, we'll be talking about Alma Har'el's Honey Boy. We'll also be talking about someone we're watching on the watch list, going over this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to please consider reviewing us on iTunes if you get a chance. That would be incredible. Housekeeping. There will be a new episode of Ryan Watches a Movie this week. Very excited for that. He wanted a comedy, so we gave him a relatively new comedy. And we are going to be recording December's episode of Saved by the 90s today, later on today. So stay tuned for that. I don't have a release date for that just yet, but it is the holiday episode. So I imagine it's going to probably come out around the 23rd. I might push it to come out a little bit earlier, but we'll have to figure that out. We're doing a made-for-TV Christmas Part 2, and I'm very excited about that. And that's pretty much it. I think I think we can jump into the review here.
Review time.
Yeah. Honey Boy, I have a synopsis here. A young actor's stormy childhood and early adult years as he struggles to reconcile with his father and deal with his mental health. That's not a sentence, but we'll go with it. This stars Shia LaBeouf, Lucas Hedges, Noah Jupe. Kevin, we'll start with you. What did you think of Honey Boy?
Honey Boy is pretty good. Pretty good. I found it interesting in that, you're going off of a screenplay here written by Shia, and the stuff that he decides to keep in and the stuff that he decides to keep out. I felt that was kind of interesting in the way that all plays out. And this makes him look very, very sympathetic, which, I mean, he is, but...
Do you mean the Shia LaBeouf or his dad in this? Or both?
Both. Well, both. I mean, his dad, I think the way he shows his dad is pretty good. I think that is a complicated portrayal that he has, but himself, the 12-year-old version of him and the 22-year-old version of him, the Otis, I think really shows him as a very, very sympathetic character. But like the main scene, or not really a main scene, but the thing that kind of kicks off everything is him, the accident that he gets into, which for whatever reason gets him this posh sentence of therapy, just absolutely ridiculous. But in the real life version of that, that's when he has his like big time racial outbursts where he's just an absolute racist. But none of that is in there. Not even fucking close to showing that. It's just like, oh, he's got in an accident. Now he's in this posh setting where he gets to have, this bizarre form of therapy that he gets
the pool hug sessions.
Man. And it's crazy to me because they're like, oh, if you don't do this, you have to serve your 4-year sentence. You're like, you're getting this in lieu of a 4-year sentence? Are you fucking kidding me? And then, on top of that, the thing that I found very interesting stemming out of that is essentially all the characters around either the 12-year-old or the 22-year-old Otis that treat him with kindness are all people of color, which I felt was kind of interesting. It felt weird to me. Like, oh, you're not even going to address that, and then you're going to do this on top of it. Kind of weird. So there's a little part of me that's like, you know what, Jaya, you didn't go all the way. You weren't 100% vulnerable here. You didn't lay yourself out there.
Guess he's trying to compensate. I mean, I think that for the most part, he did kind of lay himself out there in a lot of ways. Not everything, certainly. But I mean, I think it's an interesting character study to, I mean, he plays his own dad in this, which I think is,
yes.
That's just, I think that in and of itself is kind of a fascinating experiment.
And I do enjoy that stuff. I do enjoy everything that he does in portraying his dad. And he does a phenomenal job. I mean, it's a great performance.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know it's kind of weird to kind of latch on to the other thing, because this is majority-wise it's about his dad, but there is that element to it of how his dad influences him, and then not be 100% truthful in the way that, you know, you've acted as a person. Just, it put me off a little bit.
I mean, I just don't know if he felt it necessary to put in all of the scandals and things that happened to him later on in life. I mean, there's, you know, he was in the news for a lot of stuff later on before the rehab and all of that.
Yeah, but this rehab and this racist outburst is what kicks off because that's when he had that racist rant or whatever, that's when he went to the therapy that he's in the movie, and that's when he starts writing this movie that we're watching. So it seems like, you know, that was kind of a big thing to just kind of leave out of everything that happened at that time, which essentially this movie is born out of. It just feels weird to me that you're not going to include any of that.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't even really thinking about that when I was watching this, honestly. I kind of forgot that actually happened.
Well, I think that's what he's hoping.
People just forget.
Do. And then he can, you know, he can fill out all the ancillary characters with people of color, and they're really nice to him, and you'll just be like, oh, wow, yeah.
Well, I think that he probably wasn't in the right headspace when that happened. I think he was probably fucked up. Not that that's an excuse or anything, of course.
No, but it's also weird, too, because reading about that, like, when he came out of it and he was doing press for, like, Borg and McEnroe, and so what he did before that press tour is he sat down with the therapist that's portrayed in this movie and did, like, they practice press so he could get his answers right, addressing these things. So there's a part of me that still believes this guy, with his performance art that he does, that I'm not 100% sure if Honey Boy is 100% sincere.
Well, that's actually a really good point, because I mean that's something that's even discussed in this movie when he's in the therapy.
Exactly.
When he's in the therapy and they're like, I don't know if you're acting right now. Like, are you always acting? Are you ever truly yourself? Are you ever truly being yourself? And I think that that's something that he has to grapple with in real life, like on a daily basis. I think that sometimes he doesn't know. Even he doesn't know if he's ever being himself, because, you know, he grew up as a child actor. He's been acting probably as long as he can remember at this point. And because he grew up in this system of acting, he just doesn't know, like, is everything a performance? And, you know, he's the type of actor who really, I don't know if he's necessarily method, but he really, you know, he dives into his roles and stuff. And I think he has a hard time truly knowing himself. There's a really interesting conversation that came out recently between him and Kristen Stewart, and how he talks about, like, the only time he truly feels like happy is when he's performing, when he's on a set, when he's acting. Like, he can't even imagine, like, it's so much ingrained in who he is and part of him that he can't imagine life without being in front of a camera. And I think that that's something that he tries to explore in this movie, like the sequence of events that led to that, and his substance abuse problems and various other mental ailments that stemmed from his time growing up with his dad. And I think it's also really interesting that, like, he doesn't necessarily, like you said, he portrays his dad as a sympathetic character. Like, he's not a good dad. He's pretty awful at being a dad, and he's got a lot of problems, but I think that he does it I think it all comes from a place from the heart, you know, like he's trying to portray it from a place of love. Like, he clearly cares for and loves his dad, even though his dad put him through a lot of really awful things, many of which are shown in this movie.
Yeah, no, and he does capture that really well. Like, this isn't just, just that he's a shitty father and there's no complexity to it whatsoever. He's just a shitty dad. Like, it's not that. This is a very complex portrayal because there's tenderness there. There is him obviously being a shitty father, like you said. He does some fucking heinous stuff. But there's small moments, too, where they really seem to get along and they have a great relationship. And then within an instant, there's always that possibility of it flipping and just doing a complete 180 and it, being a nightmare.
A large portion of it takes place. It jumps back and forth between when he's 12, when he's 22. So when he's 12, it's really when he's starting to break into the industry. Like, it starts off with him. He's doing like a small show or something, or maybe it was like a movie or something. He was doing small things at the beginning, but he was making a living as an actor when this movie starts. And then it jumps between that time when he's starting to blow up as an actor and when he's 22, and that's when he's pretty much at the height of his career. It's when he's doing, like, the movie opens with a big action movie that we can probably assume is Transformers, and that's when, like, his career just is exploding, and he's doing like the war movies and stuff, and then his implosion, I guess you could say. But I was kind of hoping that it would go through his Disney Channel era when he was doing all the Disney Channel, the Even Stevens stuff.
Yeah,
they didn't quite go that far into his career as a child actor. I don't know why. I just wanted to see Even Stevens being. They did show that one, like, movie that he was in. I don't know which movie or any that represented, but looked ridiculous.
It sure did.
I thought performances across the board were pretty fantastic. We already mentioned that Shia LaBeouf portraying his father in this in the movie. The character's name's James Lort. Really incredible performance. Noah Jupe, the 12-year-old version of Otis, he does a really amazing job. Mm-hmm. Especially given the content, like the stuff that he has to do as a 12-year-old. I mean, he's like smoking cigarettes just nonstop. He's drinking. He's almost hooking up with women that are like way many years older than him.
And it's weird to me that in his smoking portrayal was like his smoking form.
It was real.
Much better than a lot of actors I've seen in my life.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually noticed that, and I'm like, it looks like he's actually inhaling that cigarette.
Yeah, and it looks like he knows, like, he smoked before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that they just coached him in that, and they just taught him how to do that.
He's a pack-a-day.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a pack-a-day smoker. He's 12. Lucas Hedges, I thought was did a really fantastic job too. Now I know you haven't been the biggest fan of Lucas Hedges in his previous roles. How did you feel he did in this movie?
I thought he was pretty good here, and I don't know if I would have to double check, but I thought, like, the voice, like when he first.
Oh yeah, that was one of the first things I noticed.
He sounds a lot like Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
that was
one of. Yeah, that was one of the first things I noticed, because it happens. I mean, like I said, he's in the opening scene, and I was just like, whoa. Like, he changed his voice to sound like Shia LaBeouf. It was almost jarring, but he did such a good job of nailing the mannerisms and the cadence of Shia LaBeouf is kind of crazy. You have FKA Twigs in there. She was fine. She actually didn't have that many.
I don't really understand the point of her character.
Yeah, she didn't really even have many speaking lines in there. I'm not sure. I think that maybe she was just included because someone was a fan of hers and wanted to work with her. It seems like that's why she was in there.
Yeah, I didn't To me, it was an odd inclusion.
Clifton,
Like all the moments with those two between Noah Jupe and her. It's just like I'm not really sure what we're doing here. Seems like we're on a detour right now.
yeah, it was all part of the coming of age stuff. Clifton Collins Jr. is in there as Tom. He was great. He wasn't in it a whole lot, but he was solid. I'm a big fan of Alma Har'el's stuff. I was a huge fan of Bombay Beach. I really liked Love True a lot. I think this might be her, other than the music videos that she's done, this might be her like narrative feature debut.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought she did a really good job. I mean, I just really love her style. I think that
The only thing that I'll say, and I don't know how you feel, but because she has like a very, very distinct style. I mean, she's a very visual director. And I don't know, like Honey Boy, I felt a little bit let down.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is certainly, I think, what you might say is the safest of her movies, where there's not a lot of experimentation involved. It's pretty straight up. That isn't to say it doesn't look good, because I think it does look very good, but comparing it to something like Love True or Bombay Beach, it's just not quite on the same level of like visual experimentation.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think, just my opinion, that she does is she very accurately represents emotion, like visually. She does a really good job of representing emotion in a visual sense, and I didn't see a lot of that here. I think that the actors, the performers, are the ones who pretty much handle a lot of the emotional heft of the movie.
Yeah.
But again, that isn't to say that I didn't think it looked good from a visual perspective. I think that it looked quite good. I liked the look of like the motel that they lived in, which is also crazy to think about the fact that this kid is blowing up, becoming famous. He's just straight up becoming famous, and he's living in a shitty little motel.
Yeah. So you see the guy that was in charge of the money, though.
I don't know though, like, because there are often times where he talks about like paying his dad. So I'm not sure that his dad.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't. There might have been some sort of intermediary or something in there where his dad didn't have access to all the money. I think someone might have been smart enough to be like, we're not going to have you be responsible, because he said that the only reason that at one point he says that the only reason that his dad keeps him around is because he pays him.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm wondering if there was some sort of like financial manager or something involved.
I would hope so.
Overall, I think it's a really solid film. I don't know. I guess I wanted just a little bit more. Maybe something that spanned a little bit more time. And I don't want to say necessarily a deeper dive, because I think it was a pretty deep dive into the relationship between these two, but maybe something that just covered a little bit more ground. But as is, I think it's a pretty solid picture.
I would agree with you. I would agree. But there's still that part of me that I'm just just a little trepidation here.
You wanted the racist stuff in there.
Well, I'm just like you said, where he he admits to it and he discusses it, and it's like, and knowing that before he went on a press tour, he did just hours of practice with his quote unquote therapist, to get his answers right. And it's just like, how much of this is like a tailored, like rebranding, as opposed to like a full on 100% just being open and honest and that type of thing.
And I thought about this while watching it, because they changed the names of the people and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know. Obviously, it's modeled after his life, but I don't know if we're supposed to go in thinking like this is a true story, or this is just inspired by, his life. And it's not necessarily a one-to-one reflection of his life. Like, so I had a hard time really grappling with, am I supposed to go into this thinking about this as a biography, or am I supposed to go into this thinking that it's just a fictional story and base my conclusions on the idea that it is a fictional story? Because I think if you go into it with the expectation that this is based on Shia LaBeouf's life, this is a true story of his life growing up, I think that's when you can start to pick it apart and question a lot of what happens in it. Like, you know, did he accurately represent his dad? Did he make his dad out to be better than he actually is, you know, because he knows his dad's going to see this and he wants him to see this reflection in a certain light? Was he soft on himself? Did he make himself out to be the victim more than he really was? You know, stuff like that. So I think it's, with a movie like this, it's hard to decide how you want to view it. Yeah,
I hear you.
I tried not to really think about the real world stuff that you know we know about from the headlines and stuff going into it, but at times I did think about that and was like, is he as much of a victim as what's portrayed here?
That's where it gets a little tricky, because you can definitely feel that this is an attempt to be like, hey, this is why, you know, I've done a lot of terrible things, you know, to get people to be like, oh, because he's a victim and he's a PTSD. I got it. You know, trying to paint himself as a sympathetic person, which he is, but at the same time, like, it doesn't excuse everything, especially if you're not going to address it.
Right. But then again, I don't know if he's looking for sympathy or an excuse for the things that he's done. I don't know if he's looking for redemption necessarily. I mean, I think if anything, he made this for himself. You know, this was part of his therapy. So I don't know. It's a complex film. When you blend in the real world implications and the things that this stems from, I think it becomes a lot more complex than your standard coming of age story.
Just a little, add another layer in there. Get another layer.
Either way, I think that you and I have been pretty positive with Shia LaBeouf's stuff. I mean, a lot of people don't like him and don't like him as an actor. Maybe don't like him as a person. I don't know, but I've always thought that he was talented, and I hope that I kind of thought this before watching the movie, but certainly after, I want to see him continue to be healthy and make great art. And
it is tough because, like, I do like him, but at the same time, I don't like him because, you know, a lot of the, you know, his performance-wise, his art and stuff, yes, I can get behind most of that. But then, like, just him as a person and the stuff that he does, it's like, man, you make it really hard.
Well, and I think he's been getting better with that. Like, I've seen some interviews with him and stuff, and it seems like he's it actually seems like that rehab worked for him, and he seems to be more centered than he used to be, but time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Honey Boy?
No.
I would recommend checking this out. Certainly, it's worth a look. What are you gonna give it out of 10?
I was just thinking, because I have not thought of that yet. So I'm thinking like a 6.5, 7.
All right, I'm at a 7.5 on this one.
All right.
And that is playing in theaters right now. I think it expanded recently, so check your listings. It's still select theaters, but it did get a wider release, I think maybe like a week or two ago. So yeah, check to see if it's playing in your area. I'm really excited for Alma Har'el and to see if she's going to continue to make narrative features. I mean, no matter what, I think that the projects that she gets involved with are really unique. So I'm really excited to see what she's going to come up with next.
Yeah, same.
All right, let's move on and talk about some of what we've been watching. Kevin, I think we'll start it with you this week. What do you got?
A whole bunch of nothing. Not really a whole lot. I've started a number of movies.
One of those deals, huh?
Yeah, got a number of danglers out there. But one that I forgot to talk about last time is The Last Man on Earth from 1964, starring Vincent Price. So what this is, okay, this is an adaptation of I Am Legend. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is far better than the Will Smith I Am Legend. This one is far truer to the ending of that novel or novella or whatever it is than the Will Smith version. Now, obviously, this one, 1964, is a lot less action in this. It's somewhat slow moving, and it really just focuses on Vincent Price's like what he does throughout the day in order to survive. You know, him waking up in the morning and him venturing out and doing what he needs to do, hunting down the vampires, killing them, getting his supplies, taking bodies to the pit to burn them, and then him coming home and then just waiting out. Like every time night comes out, you know, the vampires come out, try and get him. And it's like every night's the same for him, which is he goes into his house, which is boarded up, and the whole night is a bunch of vampires yelling his name and hitting his windows and his walls. And I can't imagine like how long you could last with that. And he lasts for a long time, years. But like that would just drive me fucking nuts. That's every night. But the ending of this is what makes it much better than I Am Legend. They don't do the stupid bullshit thing like they did in the Will Smith movie. It stays truer to it, where he is actually the bad guy. So if you like I Am Legend, if you like that story, that novella, then I would definitely suggest checking out The Last Man on Earth.
All right. I saw Marriage Story. It's the big Netflix release this week, directed by Noah Baumbach. I liked this.
Yeah.
I went into this not expecting much. I didn't think it was going to be for me. I thought it was going to be way too heavy for what I was, you know, my current mindset, what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something lighter, and I just anticipated this being just really depressing and horrible. Like I don't want to see a marriage being dissolved, and it does go to some really dark places, really kind of sad places, but it's a little different than what I expected going into it, and I ended up really enjoying it. I think that it does have some problems. I think that one of the problems that we see with Netflix movies is that they give their creators carte blanche to just make whatever they want. And I think that sometimes directors need limitations. And this movie it's 136 minutes, so it's pretty long. And I think that it could have been trimmed down a bit. I think that there are several scenes in it that just could have been eliminated altogether. The performances are incredible. Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver are fantastic in it, but there's a lot of supporting characters that are absolutely incredible. Laura Dern is in this. She plays Scarlett Johansson's divorce attorney, and she's fantastic. Alan Alda is in this and destroys. He plays Adam Driver's attorney, his first attorney, and he is so good in this. He's so funny. I loved Alan Alda in this. Ray Liotta also he plays Adam Driver's second attorney, and Ray Liotta he also kills in this.
How many lawyers are in this movie?
A bunch. Basically what happens is he hires Alan Alda, and Alan Alda is like too nice. Like he's not ruthless enough, and he ends up having to get a second lawyer that is more ruthless in the divorce proceedings. It's a pretty tough watch at times. I mean, there's like one big scene that everybody's sort of talking about online right now. This big argument that happens, and you know, that was a really powerful, heartbreaking scene. But there's another scene that happens during this like home visit that I think is, to me, was the highlight of the movie. And I can't remember her name, but she's in the show Baskets, and she's just so funny and so good. I just want to see her in everything. Martha Kelly. That's the only thing. Yeah, Martha Kelly. She's fantastic. She basically plays the same character that she plays in Baskets, but she's so funny. There's the scenes that I could have done without, unfortunately, come towards the very end of the movie, and so really it unfortunately sours just kind of the whole thing for me. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that they involve music. They're kind of almost musical numbers, and I just feel like it almost derailed the whole thing for me. I don't know why they were included. And then there's a scene that happens towards almost at the very, very end involving, they have a son together, and it involves the son, and it seemed so ham-fisted and forced that it almost ruined the whole movie for me. But overall, I will say that I was surprised at how much I really enjoyed it, and just how, like, I feel like Noah Baumbach is such a good director. There's so many specific shots and cuts in this that really hammer the in the tone, and he's such an astute director. I'm always impressed with the stuff that he does. So Marriage Story, I will give that a recommendation. That's on Netflix.
That's all I got, because I didn't finish any movies except for Honey Boy.
I had a pretty light week too. There's only one other one that I won't recommend it. I'll talk about it. It's I saw the new Into the Dark episode on Hulu. This is the Christmas one. I already forget the fucking name of it. I gotta look it up. It's not on Letterboxd. It's called A Nasty Piece of Work. I did not enjoy this one. I feel like all the Into the Dark movies are really hit or miss, and this one was a hard miss for me. The only thing that I found to be enjoyable with this is that Julian Sands plays sort of the bad guy in it, and I think, and he plays such a weirdo in this too, which I really appreciate. I'm a big fan of Julian Sands, and I want to see him in more stuff. I want him to have a little renaissance. Yeah, he was in Arachnophobia, and he was in the Warlock series.
Is it Boxing Helena?
Yeah, yep.
Right?
Yep. That was him.
Which he's just fucking incredible in.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So this one is about an employee at this, I don't even know what they do at this company. They do something in this company. It's your classic, big corporation, and he's trying to become an executive, and he finds out that there's no Christmas bonus, that they're not giving out any Christmas bonus, and he's really bummed, and he thinks that he's not going to get the promotion that he wanted. And at their office Christmas party, he gets invited to the boss's house for like a little get together. So he looks at this as an opportunity to hopefully get in good with his boss and maybe get his Christmas bonus or that promotion that he wanted. And when he goes over there, it turns out that his boss and his boss's wife are playing this, this game, this twisted game where, you got your classic rich people playing some sort of twisted game with the underlings. It's not great. We'll put it. We'll just say that it's not very good. And I believe that's all I got. I did watch The Body Remembers When the World Broke Open.
Oh yeah,
really enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
I pretty much just
pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to our episode from, I think it was 2 weeks ago when Kevin talked about it, I pretty much mirror everything you said about it. It's just really, really riveting. I was just sort of glued to the screen the whole time, and that's on Netflix too. So that one is a definite recommend before the end of the year if you're doing year-end lists.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, let's take a look at what we have in new releases this week. In theaters, we got Richard Jewell. Got Richard Jewell coming out. You'll know his story. You'll know his name. You'll know all about Richard Jewell. You excited? You excited to get to know Richard Jewell?
Rich Jewell, American hero.
Cancel culture. Cancel culture, Kevin. This is the start of cancel culture. We canceled out Richard Jewell. Now he's coming back. Tell his story. Like I said before, I might check out Richard Jewell just to see Paul Walter Hauser's performance. I like him.
Yeah, that's the only thing that looks interesting to me.
Other than that, it doesn't look great. We also have Jumanji: The Next Level. This is the sequel to the one that came out just a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nothing else to say about that.
Oh, God.
The Death and Life of John F. Donovan. We got The Islands, A Hidden Life. This is the new Malick. Heard good things.
Oh, yeah. New Malick.
I hope to see this.
Period Malick.
Yeah, I hope to see this before the end of the year.
You know, I've realized something with Malick. I had this realization, right? Like his whole visual style. And I think that you might understand this because I think you've had this as well. But you know when you're not wearing your glasses or your contacts, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you see something up close and you realize like how the world actually looks to everyone else that can see.
Yep.
That doesn't wear. Like that's Malick to me. Like everything's really close up. That's what Malick, his whole visual style, that's what it looks like to me, is what people actually see.
I can see that comparison.
Because it's weird, because like the world is so much crisper when you actually see it. And it's like, this is what the world actually looks like.
It is really incredible, isn't it? Like when you take off your glasses and contacts or contacts and when you look at something really close up and you're just like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like when I see my dog, like super close up, I'm like, holy shit, you look incredible. There's so many colors. Yeah,
that's the unfortunate thing about being nearsighted is it's a trade-off.
Yeah, the only thing is it's like, for me, it's about, I think, 3 inches. 3 inches from my face is I can see, and then anything else beyond that, I can't see it. But that 3 inches, man, whew, boy.
Yeah, I'm probably like 2 inches. I just looked.
Wonderful world.
Are you interested in this, A Hidden Life?
I mean, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
My expectations aren't high, but I'll definitely check it out.
Same. We also have Rabid. This is the remake of the Cronenberg film. This is the one from the Saska sisters. I thought this was okay. I thought it was okay. And didn't love it. Uncut Gems is coming out. I'm not sure if this is a limited release or I think it is. I think it's a limited release.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. I know. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I have a strong feeling that's going to be contender for number one for me.
It's been a minute since I've been this excited for a movie.
Yeah. It's looks incredible. Heard nothing but great things. Bombshell also comes out. This is the one.
Straight garbage. That looks like straight garbage.
This is the Jay Roach one, the Fox News scandal. When I saw Knives Out the other week, they had a trailer for Bombshell, and somebody in the theater behind me just goes, "They already made a movie about that?" He said it like real loud because it was like one of those situations where the music was still playing when he started to say it, but then the music stopped and it was just silent. It's like everybody heard him in the theater.
Wonderful. On
VOD this week, we got on the 10th, 5 Galaxies. This is a sci-fi anthology film.
Mm-hmm.
We got, and then on the 13th, we got Hell on the Border. This is looks like a Western. Action-packed Western. Tells the incredible true story of Bass Reeves, the first black marshal in the Wild West.
Okay.
Valiant is coming out. This is a documentary about a hockey team, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We got The Death and Life of John F. Donovan. The Death and Life of John F. Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
A decade after the death of an American TV star, a young actor reminisces about the written correspondence he once shared with the former, as well as the impact those letters had on their lives.
A movie about letters. Wonderful.
A lot of reminiscing.
I just hope it's all voiceover. My dearest John.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I'll never know because I'm probably not going to see that. We got Mob Town coming out, obviously. Mob movie.
Hell yeah.
Starring David Arquette. So.
Oh, just a town of mobsters.
Yeah.
Mob Town.
On Blu-ray this week, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you haven't seen that yet, check it out. That's on digital right now, so you can rent that on the old VOD.
Nice.
I'm guessing that there's probably not many special features on this since it's a major release, and major releases don't seem to get bonus supplements anymore.
Wonderful. Great choice. Good idea.
Got It Chapter 2. A little disappointed with that one.
Mm-hmm.
The Fly Collection. This contains The Fly, Return of the Fly, Curse of the Fly, and then the Cronenberg Fly, and then The Fly 2, the one with Eric Stoltz. That's all of them. This is a Shout.
Every single fly.
Yeah, it's a Shout Factory release. That's probably worth a look. I've never seen the original ones. Hustlers is coming out. Heard good things. Haven't seen it yet. I'm going to try to squeeze it in before the end of the year. 1985's Stick, starring Burt Reynolds, is coming out. Blue Collar from 1978. Dr. Jekyll. Yeah.
You say Blue Collar?
Yeah, Blue Collar.
God. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Richard Pryor. Harvey Keitel.
Oh, man. I've been wanting to see that for a good long while. Great news.
Yeah,
Great news.
Kino Lorber's putting that out.
Nice.
I got an email from them, by the way. They sent me an email and they're like, "Hey, Adam, I just want to thank you for covering our stuff and saying kind words about our releases." I was like, you know what?
That's nice.
Yeah. You guys are doing good work over there. Freaks from earlier this year is coming out. That one just kind of flew under the radar. It didn't get as much attention as I think it deserved. That's an interesting movie. Worth a look. Monos is coming out. It was a little bit of a disappointment. Visual Feast, that movie, but not much going on under the hood, I don't think.
Nope.
Limits of Control is coming out on Arrow Video, putting out Limits of Control, the Jarmusch movie from 2009. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's a weird pairing.
Yeah, when I found out that they were putting that out, it's Arrow Academy, so it's not like Arrow Academy is sort of like one of their offshoots, but yeah, it's still an odd one. Inside Moves from 1980. That Linda Ronstadt movie is coming out on Blu-ray. Terminal Velocity from 1994. The Fanatic. An Elephant Sitting Still. There's a ton. Playing God from 1997. That's one with David Duchovny.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky Day from earlier this year. Piranhas from earlier this year is coming out. I was interested in that one. A Stranger Among Us from 1992, starring Melanie Griffith. Aces, Iron Eagle 3 from 1992, coming out. The Wrath, Badland, The Harvesters, The Tombs, The Death of Dick Long. I'd recommend checking out The Death of Dick Long. That's another one that I feel like nobody really talked about. That's an A24, and it was unexpected. It's an unexpected movie.
Isn't it? I always find it interesting how A24 decides to do things. There's certain movies that they just never shut the fuck up about, and then there are other releases they just like completely ignore.
I think that
don't even mention them.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like how much mainstream appeal they think of one of their movies will have. Like it seems like they pick up movies that they genuinely believe in, but they definitely push the ones that they know will have a bigger mainstream appeal.
Yeah.
Like the death of Dick Long is definitely not a mainstream movie. It's
no. But like, I understand that to a certain extent, but it also seems like some of these movies too, like The Death of Dick Long, they're just like, we're not even going to acknowledge it. Like, why even pick it up to begin with? Like, you won't even, like, I don't even remember them saying like, hey, this is a movie that we're putting out.
Yeah, it's strange.
Like, that's got to feel weird, like, as a filmmaker, you know, like, oh, A24 picked this up. And then A24 just doesn't acknowledge you.
Yeah,
all.
like comparing, like, I mean, this is the same company that, puts out The Lighthouse and then just pushes it endlessly.
Just fucking GIFs and stickers and goddamn emojis and fucking bullshit little gifts that you can buy. And then they can't even be bothered to be like, hey, The Death of Dick Long is coming out. Maybe watch it. Like, they can't even bother to do that much, like bare minimum.
Yeah, it's a shame too, because it's a good movie. It's really good.
Might have to check that out then.
Along Came the Devil 2, and I think that's pretty much it. What do we have on Criterion's?
We got two. We have Till the End of the World from Wim Wenders, 1991. Fucking jam-packed with special features there. New introduction, new interviews, new conversations, behind the scenes, all sorts of stuff, right? And then you have 2006's Old Joy, good old Joy, coming out on Blu-ray. New restoration, new interview, new conversations.
Very nice. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.